Welcome to this anniversary episode of In Their Steps. I'm author and historian Todd Cathy. The Battle of Fort Donelson was fought in February 1862. In this episode, we celebrate the 157th anniversary of the battle. A little-known fact is that there were two soldiers who won the Medal of Honor for their actions at Fort Donelson. Matthew Arthur, a sailor of the USS Carondelet, and Voltaire P. Twombly of the 2nd Iowa Infantry. The name Voltaire P. Twombly may not be a name you're familiar with, but Twombly's name will be forever enshrined in the annals of Civil War history, as he will be inexorably linked with the Federal success at the pivotal point of the Battle of Fort Donelson, Tennessee on the afternoon of February 15, 1862. Voltaire P. Twombly was from Van Buren County, Iowa. His parents were Samuel Tuttle Twombly and Dorothy Carter Wilder. Twombly was born on February 21, 1842 in Farmington, Iowa. Sadly, his father died 7 months after his birth, and he was raised by his widowed mother. In the opening days of the Civil War, Twombly answered the call to arms, enlisting in the Union Army on April 24, 1861, at age 19. A month later, he was mustered into Company F of the 2nd Iowa Infantry. Within 6 months of his enlistment, he was promoted to corporal and assigned to the color guard of the 2nd Iowa. In the early days of the war, the 2nd Iowa was assigned to duty guarding the railroad around St. Joseph, Missouri. Next, the regiment was assigned to similar duties in other parts of the state, but was eventually transferred to St. Louis. At St. Louis, the regiment was assigned to guard McDowell College, which had been turned into a prison for Confederate sympathizers. While they were assigned to this duty, some of the members of the regiment broke into one of the college museums and stole some of the items. Well, this raised the ire of Department Commander General Henry Halleck. And because of this infraction, when being sent south to reinforce General Grant on his excursion against Fort Donelson, Halleck adjured the regiment to board their transport, the T.H. McGill, in disgrace, without music, and with colors furled. Just 11 days before his 20th birthday, Twombly boarded the T.H. McGill with the 2nd Iowa and headed south with the Army of the Tennessee. After the 2nd Iowa disembarked, they were assigned to Lauman's Brigade of Charles Ferguson Smith's division and took their position on the Federal left. On the morning of February 15th, the Confederates rolled out of their works and smashed the Federal right, driving it back. As Grant arrived on the scene in the afternoon, he surmised that from the strength of the Confederate attack on his right, that the rebels on his left must be weak. Grant made the instant decision to attack, stating the one who attacks first now will be victorious. Grant then commanded General C.F. Smith to attack with his division, including the 2nd Iowa Infantry. As Colonel Tuttle's 2nd Iowa started up the hill intent on driving the 30th Tennessee from the outer line, the Tennesseans, though greatly outnumbered, put up a stubborn fight. Color Sergeant Henry B. Doolittle of the 2nd Iowa fell early in the engagement. The colors were then taken by Corporal Garfield Page of Company B, who was soon killed. The colors were then raised by Corporal James M. Churcher of Company I, who had his arm broken just as he entered the entrenchments. At this time, the colors were seized and taken by Corporal Voltaire P. Twombly of Company F. Twombly was almost instantly knocked down by a spent ball, but realizing he was uninjured, continued forward with the colors, planting them on the Confederate works. The intrepid Southerners formed another line of battle on the next ridge. Here the 30th Tennessee was reinforced by the 49th and the 50th Tennessee regiments. Again, the 2nd Iowa started forward with Corporal Twombly carrying the colors forward. The Confederate defense was now too strong to be broken, and the Federal assault was itself broken. As Twombly and his unit withdrew, they maintained their position on the outer works just captured. It was largely due to the assault by Smith's division that led to Fort Donelson's surrender the next morning. The 2nd Iowa Infantry bore such a conspicuous part in the fighting as to be accorded the post of honor by being placed in the vanguard of the troops as they entered the recently surrendered Fort Donelson. Twombly remained in the Army fighting at Shiloh, Corinth, the Atlanta Campaign, and the March to the Sea. Twombly earned the rank of captain, and after the war, he returned to his home in Iowa, where he married and pursued various business ventures. On March 12, 1897, Twombly was awarded the Medal of Honor for his actions at Fort Donelson. His citation read, "Took the colors after 3 of the color guard had fallen, and although most instantly knocked down by a spent ball, immediately arose and bore the colors to the end of the engagement." Living out his later years in retirement, Twombly died on February 24th, 1918 in Des Moines, Iowa, 3 days beyond his 76th birthday. He's buried in the Pittsburgh Rural Cemetery in Van Buren County, Iowa. That's it for this episode of In Their Steps. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.